100% foreign ownership of mainland companies in the UAE has now been implemented with effect from the 1st of June 2021. This follows an announcement that was made last year to amend the UAE's Commercial Companies Law to allow 100% foreign ownership of mainland companies. If you have been to my channel before, then you might recall that I discussed these developments in some detail in an earlier video. If you're new here or haven't seen that video, then a link to it is in the description box below, and you can take a look at it to get a bit more of a background to this topic. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the latest developments in this area, and I will also provide some comments on the potential impact that these developments could have on the UAE's private commercial sector. Welcome back to another video on my channel. If you're new here, my name is Yusuf Ahmed and I'm an international lawyer originally from Scotland and the UK. My boutique practice specialises in all aspects of commercial law. My work often involves international or multi-jurisdictional elements. If you require any advice, guidance or assistance with anything, then please feel free to reach out to me at any time. My email address is mentioned in the description box below. You can send me an email and I would be very happy to assist you. Now, hopefully you already have a bit of an awareness and understanding of the developments that have taken place in the UAE when it comes to relaxing the foreign ownership restrictions that have typically been in place in respect of mainland companies. In short, Article 10 of the UAE's Commercial Companies Law, often referred to in its abbreviated form as the CCL, has been amended to remove the requirement of a local sponsor having to hold at least 51% of a mainland company, which in turn meant that a foreign party was restricted to being a minority shareholder of a mainland company. This restriction has often been a point of concern for foreign investors or those looking to set up a mainland company in the UAE, and understandably so. The prospect of handing a majority share in a commercial enterprise to another person who may otherwise have no involvement whatsoever in the enterprise can be a difficult proposition. It can also be seen as an unnecessary barrier that inhibits many foreign entrepreneurs or business people from starting their own mainland company in the UAE. Thus, the general removal of foreign ownership restrictions for mainland companies is significant, both in terms of changing a long-standing aspect of the country's commercial law, but also in terms of its potential impact on the UAE's private commercial sector in general. In the run-up to its implementation, I released a statement which was picked up by some local news outlets. Here's a copy of it. And I commented that this represents a significant shift from the existing default position where mainland companies have been subject to foreign ownership restrictions under the Commercial Companies Law, CCL, and it has typically been mandatory for them to have a local sponsor holding a majority share in the mainland company. We're now at the point where these reforms are being actively rolled out and implemented. Its significance cannot be understated in the context of the country's business and commercial landscape. It is exciting news for the business community, and it will no doubt be of interest to both existing mainland companies and to those thinking of starting a business in the UAE. So the good news is that as of the 1st of June 2021, this has been implemented, and in principle, 100% foreign ownership is now possible for UAE mainland companies. The Department of Economic Development, or DED, of each emirate is responsible for releasing an official list of business activities for mainland companies that are permitted to have 100% foreign ownership. At the present time, the DED of both Dubai and Abu Dhabi have released their lists, which include over 1,000 business activities permitted to have 100% foreign ownership under a mainland company structure. The DED of Sharjah and Ajman have also recently released their lists, which are broadly similar. A point to note is that business activities can be added or removed at any time from these lists, plus conditions can be added as well, so it is always worthwhile to get the latest up-to-date information wherever possible. I also want to add that the DED of each emirate can exercise its discretion when determining which business activities feature on its list and are therefore permitted for 100% foreign ownership under a mainland company structure. In addition, they can also exercise further discretion in imposing conditions for those mainland companies engaged in certain business activities. In effect, this could mean that there are different foreign ownership rules applying in each of the 7 emirates when it comes to mainland companies, and therefore the emirate in which a mainland company is incorporated in may become very relevant to its overall structure and setup. With all that said, I would highlight, and this is an important point that I have also made in my earlier video, that there are exceptions and some types of mainland companies, most notably those involved in strategic activities in business sectors as determined by the relevant authorities, may still be subject to foreign ownership restrictions. As a result, at least at this point in time, and again, this is something that I have mentioned before, there is not an overarching blanket removal of the foreign ownership restrictions for mainland companies, and this is a point that I would suggest should be kept in mind. Therefore, if you have an existing mainland company or are thinking about setting one up and wish to take advantage of the foreign ownership provisions, then the first thing that you should do is check whether the relevant business activities are included within the official list issued by the relevant Department of Economic Development. If it is included, then that gives you an option from which you can explore it further. On the other hand, if it is not included on the list, then the relevant business activities may fall out with the scope of the provisions, and you may need to look at and consider other options. With the current lists issued by the various DEDs showing over 1,000 business activities eligible for 100% foreign ownership under a mainland company structure, there could be plenty of choice and opportunity there for those who have an interest in a mainland company setup, or indeed restructuring an existing mainland company. Finally, I would like to share a few comments on the potential impact all this could have on the country's private commercial sector. I think the most obvious outcome could be an increase in foreign direct investment into the UAE. I believe that this was one of the main drivers of the legislative reforms in the first place, and this is a likely outcome of these developments. Simply because where foreign investors and business people may have previously had concerns or reservations about the foreign ownership restrictions on mainland companies, they may now see these as having been allayed and unnecessary barriers having been removed, which in turn may now encourage them to start their own mainland company in the UAE. Secondly, I think there is likely to be an increase in corporate activity taking place, not just in terms of new mainland company setups, but also in terms of corporate restructuring of existing mainland companies, as foreign shareholders become keen to acquire either all or at least more of their existing mainland company. This may include examples of a foreign shareholder who holds 49% of a mainland company buying out the local sponsor who holds 51% of the company. Thus, an increase in corporate activity, I think, can be expected. Thirdly, the previous point could also be expanded to suggest an increase in M&A activity, with foreign investors now becoming more interested in acquiring mainland companies with the prospect of owning them 100% outright. Thus, mainland companies could become appealing acquisition targets, and there could be an upturn in M&A activity as a result. Perhaps that is good news for corporate lawyers. Fourthly, shareholders of existing mainland companies are likely to revisit their existing contractual agreements with their fellow shareholders, such as their existing shareholder agreements and any side agreements that they might have in place. This could in turn lead to certain disputes arising, or it could be an opportunity for the shareholders to get their ducks in a row, so to speak, and reorganize and restructure their existing mainland company in a way that reflects a structure that they might have always wanted to have, but could not have previously implemented. And finally, there are questions around what this might mean for the UAE's free zones, where one of their main draws has always been the ability to have 100% foreign ownership of a free zone company. Will this mean less interest in setting up in a free zone? Could there be a migration of companies from free zones, with them now looking to move their operations onto the mainland? Personally, in my experience, I think the free zones have their place in the market, but I think they will inevitably have to up their game and be more positively focused on the customer experience, as well as having to be more competitive in their overall proposition. In my view, free zones still have much to offer and can be a very good option for a lot of different types of businesses. But to ensure that they are not left behind in the wake of these developments happening on the mainland, I think they need to focus on delivering world-class customer service and become known to deliver a great experience for anyone that chooses to set up in a free zone. That would help set them apart. The service, the all-round experience, these are things that are just as important as a competitive pricing structure. If the free zones can develop on all these fronts and more, then I think they will be able to remain as a popular and preferred option for many foreign investors, entrepreneurs and business people who are looking to set up an enterprise in the UAE. It will be interesting to see how it all plays out now that the 100% foreign ownership provisions have been implemented across the mainland. Alright, that's it for this one. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions or queries on the subject matter of this video or would like to learn more about anything that I have discussed here, then feel free to reach out to me. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time.